On a beautiful 75-degree day, we welcome you to Waterbury Municipal Stadium for the final time in 2025 as the Post Eagles close out the regular season with a senior day doubleheader against the Lincoln Lions. Thanks for joining me on the CACC Network. I'm Matt Scalzo. Delighted you could make me and the rest of our crew a part of your Tuesday afternoon. Not only is this the final day of the regular season in baseball, it's also the final home game for Post Athletics this school year. The baseball team already knows its fate in the CACC tournament. Post has locked up the 3 seed and will face the 2 seed Felician in a best-of-3 series with a doubleheader on Friday and, if necessary, Game 3 on Saturday. Regular season, those two sides split the season series 2-2. Turning our attention back to today, the Eagles come in riding a 5-game skid, including getting swept this weekend against the top team in the North Dominican. They'll look to get back on track against a Lincoln side that has struggled mightily this season. No way to sugarcoat it. It's been a tough season. The Lions come in 7-37 overall and have dropped their last 3 contests. As digging in is Solomon Devar, the left fielder, and on the bump, Tim Mingo for Post. Comes in and his first pitch is high. Mingo, a 6'2 freshman out of Lynbrook, New York. Makes his 5th appearance, first career start. Holds a 10.13 ERA through 5 1/3 innings work. Has given up 6 runs, all of them earned on 6 hits. He finds the zone, and it's 2-1. Pair of strikeouts and 5 walks for Mingo this season. First appearance since the 15th of April against Jefferson. Went 3 2/3 innings. Had 4 runs given up, all earned on 4 hits, with his first 2 career strikeouts and 2 walks. And a 17-3 loss for Post against the nationally ranked Rams. Mingo in a full count. Payoff pitch to Devard. Hit on the ground, first base side. Stabbed by Contreras. Mingo goes to cover, race to the bag in time. The athleticism from Tim Mingo gets us started in the top of the first. Wins the race against Solomon Devard, and there's 1 away. Kenneth Gaskins now comes up to bat, the DH for Lincoln. Gaskins batting .204 this season. Has a home run and 8 RBIs. And now the umpires are going to come together after Vince Connor, the third base coach and head coach of this Lincoln side. And it is a final result. Devard is retired. And now first pitch to Gaskins. Waves through the fastball down and away. Chasing outside. The 0-1 is in the dirt and blocked by Sean Cleary, who's behind the dish today for Post. Some injuries have shuffled around this Post defensive alignment. Cleary makes his second start of the season. 1-1, check swing. Held off, 2-1. Gaskins riding a 5-game hitting streak, gets on base with a 5-pitch walk. So now a 6-game on base streak for Gaskins. As he gets aboard on a 1-out walk, brings up Wesley Hogan. Right-handed hitting shortstop. First pitch from Mingo, dips down and away. Hogan batting .269 this season, leads the team with 8 home runs, along with 25 RBIs. It's good for third on the team. 1-0. Caught a piece of the fastball, and it's 1-1. Gaskins over at first is 4 for 5 on stolen bases this season. Gaskins fakes the steal. Cleary takes a look. Ushers him back to first. Looking at this post-defensive alignment. From first to third around the infield, Manny Contreras, Rene Vega, Justin Rivera, and Michael Cardona. In the outfield, Damaris Rodriguez is in center. Flanking him in right is Isaiah Velasco and Hayden Roberge in left field. Mingo a soft throw over to first. 2-1. Hit in the air, left field, Roberge racing back into foul ground. He'll run out of room as it flies out of play. Count moves to 2-2 with 1 gone. As I said, Post already knows its postseason fate. Locked into the 3 seed. They'll be taking on Felician starting on Friday in a doubleheader, and if necessary, they'll be Game 3 on Saturday. But still some other teams determining seeding. Gaskins goes on the 2-2. Strike 3, the throwdown is late from Cleary. There's 2 away as Mingo picks up his first strikeout of the afternoon. And Gaskins swipes his 5th stolen base of the season. Jaden Greenidge now comes up to bat. Third baseman leads the team in average. He's tied with Devard at .277. 33 RBIs. That's just 1 behind team high. Takes ball 1 outside. Greenidge in the air, shallow center. Rodriguez charges, and he makes the play for out number 3. 1-out walk to Gaskins. He swipes the bag, but he's left stranded at second as we head to the bottom of the first. And we'll get our first look at the post bats when we come back on the CACC Network. Bottom of the first inning. No score so far between Post and Lincoln in Game 1 of the Senior Day doubleheader from Waterbury Municipal Stadium. If you're just joining me, Matt Scalzo, delighted to have you with me on the final day of the regular season, final home game in 2025 for Post Athletics. Baseball locked into the 3 seed in the CACC tournament, so they'll be on the road to start, and Renee Vega leads off and takes the first pitch strike from Isaiah Negron, who's on the mound for Lincoln, making his 7th start, 12th appearance of the year. Vega on the ground, and it's not scooped up by the shortstop, Wesley Hogan. Vega will be aboard. Brings up Damaris Rodriguez, the center fielder. One of the top hitters in the conference. Has Vega over at first. Rodriguez turns on the first pitch, drives it out towards right field. Long run into the corner, and the catch is made by Agramonte. Miguel Agramonte with a nice play out and right. Vega thought it was extra bases, but it is not. He went scampering back to first. Brings up Isaiah Velasco, who normally is the catcher, but with injuries to the injury to Jesse Alfala and the shuffling in the lineup, and Sean Cleary behind the dish, Velasco out and right. Takes the first pitch strike. Negron a 7.11 ERA and an 0-4 mark on the season. Loops a throw over to first. 38 innings of work this season for Negron. He's given up 30 earned runs, 41 total runs allowed on 42 hits. He's got 34 strikeouts to 44 walks. Opponents are batting .288 against the right-hander. A freshman hailing from Marion Station, Pennsylvania. One. Dips inside, and it's 2-1 to Velasco. Velasco on a 3-game hitting streak. Takes the 2-1 outside. Had a productive weekend against Dominican, going 5 for 15, 6 RBIs. Post got swept in that weekend series. A lot of offense over the weekend at home and on the road against the Chargers. 3-1. Velasco cuts and misses. Vega going. The throw down on the money. A strike from Sebastian Iguaran, the catcher for Lincoln, catches Vega stealing, and there's 2 away. And Velasco in a full count with 2 away. Negron looking to get out of the inning. Payoff pitch home. Velasco on the ground, straight to the first baseman Gardner. He'll take it to the bag himself, and the inning is over. An unconventional 1-2-3 inning for Negron, but it goes in the book the same as we head through 1 inning and on to the second, scoreless between Post and Lincoln. Top of the second inning from Waterbury Municipal Stadium. We're 3-1, and it's scoreless between Post and Lincoln. Leading off will be Keith Gardner, the first baseman, who had a nice play to bookend the bottom of the first. Faces Tim Mingo. First pitch is high to Gardner. A .391 hitter this season. He's not qualified among the top hitters on this Lincoln side. Puts one on the ground. Cardona airmails the throw to first. And Lincoln has its second base runner of the day, first leadoff base runner. Error from Cardona. Brings up Miguel Agramonte, a right fielder. Sean Stoney stands on deck. Mingo peeks over at the runner. Throw home is up over the head of Agramonte. He was showing bunt. Had to pull back and dip out of the way. Shows bunt again. Puts it foul down the third base side. Agramonte this season, a .276 hitter. Lines this into right center field, and that'll get down. Into the gap, Gardner around second on his way to third, trying to split into second, and sliding in safely is Agramonte. With a double with nobody out to put runners on second and third. Leading this team in RBIs this season. Came in with 34. And that's his 21st extra base hit of the season. 11th double. Puts Lincoln in position to strike first here in the second inning against the Post team that has been reeling, dropping 5 consecutive games. Trying to get back on track against the last place team in the South. Taking the first pitch down and away outside is Sean Stoney, the second baseman. .262 hitter this season. In the driver's seat, 2-0. Couple home runs, 13 RBIs for Stoney. Puts it in the air. Shallow center field, drifting back is Vega. He'll make the grab. Peeks up, and neither of the runners moved off their bags. Mingo gets his first out in the second. Brings up the catcher, Sebastian Guaran. Guaran had caught Vegas stealing in the bottom of the first. Now looks to deliver the first run in this contest. As Cleary stabs that pitch that was down and away. Batting .116 this season, just has 5 RBIs. Playing in his 20th game, getting his 18th start of the year. The 1-0 home. Dips down and away, and it's 2-0. Guaran went 0 for 2 in his last contest against Holy Family, but in game 2 of that 3-game set, one of the games being canceled, he went 3 for 3. It looks very comfortable Watching 3 pitches go by for Mingo, all nowhere near the zone. I would assume he's taking this pitch all the way. From the stretch and the first base side of the rubber, 3-0 is high. It's a 4-pitch walk to Aguaron to load the bases for the 9-hitter and center fielder Aaron Graves. Graves batting an even .200 this season, 3 RBIs. Waves through the first pitch fastball on the outside part of the plate. That's 0-1. Graves hitless in his last 6 games. Shakes his head as he takes the 0-1 outside, clipping the outside corner. Quickly 0-2. Mingo goes a little further outside, trying to stretch the zone. Mingo lays off it. Graves lays off it. The 1-2. High and outside again. Graves, a sophomore out of Upper Marlboro, Maryland. His last hit was 11 days ago against Mercy when he went 1 for 3. It's been hitless since. Working backwards in this at-bat. It's down 0-2. Mingo hasn't been able to find the put-away pitch, and he's got nowhere to put him with 1 away. Full count, bases loaded. The pitch to Graves. Swing and a miss. Second strikeout for Mingo. That's a huge second out. In the top of the second inning, Graves slammed his bat in frustration. Couldn't catch up to the fastball. But it's back to the top of the order for Lincoln, Solomon Devard. Coming up to bat. Looking for some more RBIs. He's got 11 on the season. Swings on the first pitch, and it skitters just foul the bag. Three-game hitting streak for Devard. He's gone 6 games since his last RBI on the 19th of April against Mercy. Throw over to first. Gets away from the first baseman, Contreras. Here comes Gardner. He'll come in to score. Rounding third and taking a wide turn. And now coming home. The throw home is late. Sliding in safely is Agramonte. And then Aguaron tried to stretch to 3. He gets in there. The throw gets into left field. And Aguaron scores. A lot to take in after that sequence of plays. The 0-1 brushes inside, and Devard has the count at 1-1. Devard pops up the 1-1. Charging back is Rivera. He can't come up with it. It drops in the Marina triangle of fielders. And this wacky inning continues for Lincoln. A bloop single to left. Puts Devard on first. After the bases were cleared on a multitude of errors from Post, gives Lincoln a 3-0 lead in the top of the second inning. And Aguaron was caught in hot water heading to third, trying to stretch it on a few base errors. And then it went, I thought he was tagged out. I had lost the ball before it sawed out in left field. Came in to score. And now it's back to Kenneth Gaskins, the DH. All started by a failed pickoff attempt from Tim Mingo. One of the stranger plays I've seen in quite some time. But Lincoln trying to end this season on a high note. Gaskins thought he had ball 4, tossed his bat, and it's actually called strike 1. They'll make that awkward walk back to the batter's box on a 3-1 count with 2 away. In these situations, sometimes the umpire will expand the zone. There's the 3-1 home. Gaskins pops it up out of play. Back to another full count. That play is about as close as you can get to a Little League home run without it being that. It's the 3-2, brushes inside. It's a 2-out walk to put 2 runners on. With Devard over at second. Gaskins works his second walk. And we'll have a mound visit for Post. Pitching coach Brian Looney going out to talk with his young right-handed hurler who has had this inning get away from him. Started with the failed pickoff attempt. Contreras lost the ball that allowed Gardner to score, and then Agramonte took that wide turnaround third. He was able to take advantage as a throw came in late. And then Aguaron was trying to stretch over to 3. He was going to be out by a mile if that throw is controlled. And Cardona couldn't pick it up. Went into left. Aguaron scored, and here we are, 3-0. Then the single from Devard that just found its way through a trio of fielders for Post, Roberge, Rivera, and Cardona all running over towards the line. Neither of them, or none of them, could get there in time to pick up out number 3. Then the walk to Gaskins, and now here we are with Wesley Hogan. 0-1. In the dirt, blocked by Cleary. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 away. Gaskins going. The throw down to third is late. Or excuse me, that was Devard going to third. Gaskins then advances over to second on the throw. A stolen base for Solomon Devard. His 26th stolen base of the season. This is an aggressive Lincoln side. 115 stolen bases coming into today. They've already got a pair. 2-1. Down and away. Gets past Cleary. Here comes Devard. He'll score as well. 4-0 Lincoln. A 4 spot in the second inning. And the unforced errors by Post continue to compound. The wild pitch from Mingo brings in Devard. And now Gaskins 90 feet away. Yeah. 2-2 popped up out of play from Hogan. Comes another 2-2. It's inside to Hogan. And it's another full count that Mingo is faced with. Struck out Graves, then walked Gaskins in the same spot. The 3-2. He gets Hogan to chase. Cleary snaps the throw over to first. He tried to tag out Hogan on the drop third. Couldn't catch up to him, but he eventually fires in the third out. A 4 spot for Lincoln, taking advantage of post miscue as we head to the bottom of the second. The Lions striking first on the CACC network. Into the bottom of the second after a wacky top of the second. Saw Lincoln bring in 4 runs, all of which were unearned, taking advantage of miscues. 3 errors by Post in that second inning. All 3 in basically the same sequence that resulted in 3 Lincoln runs. And then the wild pitch from Mingo that brought in Devard for the 4th run. Rivera leads off, and he lines one in the left field through the 5-6 hole to get the Post offense going in the bottom half of the second inning. First hit for Post, second leadoff hitter aboard. Vega reached on an error in the bottom of the first, and then he was caught stealing. So Post having to get out of a hole on senior day. Jalen Kelly, one of those seniors, he takes the first pitch strike from Isaiah Negron. Kelly batting .303 this season, 29 RBIs. Nice soft pickoff throw from Negron as Rivera dive back in safely. That's how that whole sequence started in the away half of the second. A failed pickoff attempt to first base, popped away from Contreras as the 0-1 blocked by Aguaron behind the plate. Failed pickoff attempt, got past Contreras. He didn't know where the ball was. Keith Gardner came in to score. The bases were loaded in this situation. And then Agrabante, with his speed, came over to third, took a wide turn, eventually came home, and the throw was late coming home as Kelly finds the same hole that Rivera did. Back-to-back singles for Post, puts a pair of runners on with nobody out. The Eagles looking to strike back. And then after the late throw coming home, Aguaron was trying to stretch his way from first to third. He was caught in hot water, but Cardona couldn't come up with the play on the throw from Cleary. Went into left field. Roberge had to make up some ground to try and get to that ball, but it was too late, and Aguaron had scored to make it 3-0. As Cardona takes the first pitch strike. And then Devard scored on a wild pitch from Tim Mingo. Now Post has a chance to answer back. Pair of back-to-back singles to open up his home half of the second. Cardona in an 0-2 hole. Leadoff single from Rivera, then Kelly finding the exact same spot through the 5-6 hole for a base hit. Called strike three. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Michael Cardona down on 3 pitches, and Negron has his first strikeout. Froze him on the off speed right at the knees. A much needed first out for Isaiah Negron, working with the lead. Trying to keep this where it is and see if Lincoln can keep the momentum going heading into the third. Just 7 wins this season for the Lions, 3-28 in conference play. Got a pair of their wins against Bloomfield, who was 0-42 this season. Roberge takes the 1-0 outside. It's a called strike, 1-1. And the other win in conference play for Lincoln was against Caldwell 6 days ago, a 7-1 win over the Cougars. The 1-1. Another off speed that's in there for strike 2. Roberge, another senior, transferred into post last season. Missed all of last season with an injury and has come back here, and there's another strikeout. Roberge goes down looking. Back-to-back backwards Ks for Negron, and there's 2 away. And there's been a change in the lineup even before the first time through. Manny Contreras out. Ben Major comes in. First pitch is fired in, a fastball that stamps the outside corner. That's 0-1 to Major. Freshman out of Troy, Ohio, in his first season with the Post. Initially started his career at Dayton. That one gets past Aguaron. Rivera and Kelly will advance another 90 feet. Puts both runners in scoring position with 2 outs. So Major started at Dayton, did not play last season, so he transferred here to Post. Playing in his 13th game. He's just 1 for 13 this season. Has a couple of RBIs, a double. The 1-1. Hangs upstairs. 2 balls and a strike with 2 away. Kelly's at second. Rivera's at third. No shift on against the right-handed hitting freshman. 2-1. Off speed. Loops to the outside corner. All level, 2-2. 2-2 from Negron. Goes to the fastball. And Major can't catch up. 3 straight strikeouts. Shuts the door for Post after the first 2 got on board. Negron fired up, heads to the dugout. And Lincoln heads to the third with a 4-0 lead over Post on the CACC network. Into the third inning and some changes for Post. We saw Ben Major pinch hit for Manny Contreras in the home half of the second. He's now in left field, and Hayden Roberge moves over to first base. Everything else unchanged from Post after the defensive errors in the second inning led to 4 runs for Lincoln. Now, Jaden Greenidge, who was the lone Lincoln Lion that did not get up in that second inning, leads off against Tim Mingo. Out for his third inning of work. The 1-1 brushes inside, and leaning out of the way is Greenidge. He's 0 for 1 with a fly out to center field his first time around. Two 2-1 burns the inside corner. 2-2. Mingo trying to find the same focus that Isaiah Negron had in the bottom of the second. Just a touch inside. Full count to Greenidge to begin this top of the third inning. Payoff pitch is high. It's a leadoff walk to Greenidge. Fourth free pass issued by Mingo puts another leadoff runner aboard. And brings up Keith Gardner, who had this whole inning, or had that whole second inning begin as he reached on an error from Michael Cardona, airmailing a throw to first. First pitch down and away, and sliding block to his right by Cleary. In the home half of the second, Post got first 2 hitters aboard, singles from Justin Rivera and Jalen Kelly, and then 3 straight strikeouts from Isaiah Negron slammed the door shut. Put Cardona and Roberge down looking, and then Ben Major went down swinging on a high fastball. Chopped off of home plate by Gardner, and it's 2-1. Another throw over to first. Back safely is Greenidge. Two 2-1 home, and Gardner flies it out of play right field line. Two jammed inside and fighting it off with a foul ball is Gardner. Gardner 1 for 3 in his last outing against Holy Family on a 2-run home run. This time he turns on it, drives it out deep towards left field. Major goes back, looks up, and it's out of here. Gardner goes yard again, back-to-back games with a home run. And big Keith Gardner adds another 2 runs for Lincoln. It's 6-0 in the top of the third inning. 5th home run of the season for Gardner. Lincoln has come out and is throwing haymakers on senior day against Post as Mingo deals a first pitch strike to Miguel Agramonte. A 1 outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Mingo misses again, and it's 2-1. That is high. Lincoln coming into this 7-37, 3-28 in conference play. They know what they've been this season. Said that's not going to stop us. As Mingo finds the zone and the count runs full to Agramonte, who is 1 for 1 with a double in the second. Payoff pitch. Called strike 3 on the inside corner. Agramonte doesn't like it, but he heads back to the dugout and asks the umpire, says caught the inside part of the plate, and shakes his head with agreement. As Mingo picks up his first out in the third, fourth punch out on the afternoon. Sean Stoney, he's 0 for 1 with a pop out. Takes a called strike on the outer half. Stoney, a line drive, and it's straight to Justin Rivera at short for out number 2. Stoney 0 for 2, and now Sebastian Aguaron, the catcher, comes up. He reached on a walk in the second. Keith Gardner pushing the advantage up to 6 runs for Lincoln. His 5th long ball of the season, and he knew it off the bat that it was gone. Aguaron goes around. 1-1. That zips high. 2 balls and a strike. 2 consecutive games with a home run for Gardner. Both have been 2-run home runs as well. 2-1 put on the ground, and it's out of reach for Cardona and down the line. Aguaron turning around first, digs for second, and he's in with a stand-up 2-out double. Now the 9-hitter Aaron Graves comes up looking to continue this inning. Struck out on a full count his last time up in the second. Post has dropped its last 5 games. They are locked in at the 3 seed in the postseason, but they saw this doubleheader against last place Lincoln from the South as a chance to develop and get back into their groove. Vega picks it up and is able to get the speedy Graves out by a step. We head to the bottom of the third, but more damage done by the Lions. 2-run home run from Keith Gardner makes it 6-0 Lincoln. Heading to the bottom of the third on the CACC Network. Bottom of the third inning, and Post has work to do. Lincoln adding 2 more runs in the top of the third inning on a 2-run home run from Keith Gardner, has it at a 6-0 advantage for the Lions. 9-1-2 due up for Post. Isaiah Negron deals a first pitch ball, high to Sean Cleary, the 9-hitter and the catcher. He's 1 for 6 this season. Waves through the fastball, and it's 1-1. Negron settled into a groove. And the second half of that second inning, first 2 in Rivera and Kelly had seeing eye singles through the 5-6 hole. And then Negron punctuated it with 3 straight strikeouts, 2 by the looking variety. Cleary ahead 3-1. On the ground, scooped by the third baseman and fired onto first by Greenidge in time for out number 1. Smooth play by Greenidge over at third. And there's 1 away in the bottom of the third. Brings it back to the top of the order with Rene Vega. Reached on an error in the first and then was caught stealing in an unconventional 1-2-3 inning for Negron in the bottom of the first. That one inside and Vega jumping out of the way. 1-0 finds the zone. 1-1 to Vega. One breaking ball loops outside from Negron. Two-one off speed, right there for a called strike. All square 2-2. Negron home on the ground. Scooped up by Stoney. 2 away. Damaris Rodriguez, the center fielder, now comes up. He's 0 for 1 with a fly out to right. Miguel Agramonte making a nice grab on the move, moving into the corner. Rodriguez doesn't like it, but it's a called strike on the outer half to open up this at-bat. And home plate umpire looks to have issued a warning to Rodriguez. Top hitter in the conference in terms of average. Came into today batting .441. And that looping breaking ball catches Rodriguez on the arm. He heads down to first on a 2-out hit by pitch. And now sets up Isaiah Velasco. His on-base percentage for Rodriguez will go up a little bit. Also leading the CACC in that category. Came in with a .556 on-base percentage today. Velasco's 0 for 1 with a ground out to first. Rodriguez fakes the steal. Negron fires in a first pitch strike to Velasco. Rodriguez is a threat to steal. He's 20 for 22 on stolen bases this season. Has a 2-step lead over at first. Held on to by Gardner. Negron misfires outside. Lincoln in the road grays with navy blue pinstripes. Velasco drives it the other way into left, but right there is Solomon Devard for out number 3. Rodriguez gets on with a 2-out hit by pitch, but he doesn't advance any further. As we head to the 4th, Lincoln ahead 6-0 on the CACC network. Back to the top of the order for Lincoln as we come into the 4th inning, and it's a 6-0 lead for the Lions over the Eagles on senior day for Post. Final 2 home games of the regular season. Final 2 home games for the school year for Post as a whole. Baseball team locked into the 3 seed in the CACC tournament. We'll take on Felician starting on Friday. And then the lacrosse team advancing to the CACC semifinals after taking down Bridgeport yesterday. In the 4 versus 5 matchup, they will take on top seed Wilmington tomorrow at 3:30 in the CACC semifinals. Devard leads off, and he is retired. Put one on the ground, and nice play by Maiko Cardona, who's had an eventful day over at third. And the throwing error earlier, but he gets Devard here for out number 1 in the 4th. Lincoln put up 4 runs in that second inning, highlighted by 3 runs on what felt like a Little League play, a failed pickoff attempt. Led to a couple throwing errors, and 3 runs came in to score. And then a wild pitch as that one completely slips out of the hand of Mingo. As the count moves to 1-1 against Kenneth Gaskins, who's reached on a walk both times today. And Gaskins fouls it off 1-2. A 1-2 for Mingo. Gaskins lifts it in the air, right field. Long run, and Velasco won't get there. And then to round out that second inning, Solomon Devard, who just grounded out, scored on a wild pitch. And then in the 4th, Keith Gardner, a big 2-run blast out to left center field. Made it 6-0 Lincoln. That's where we are now. Gaskins on the 1-2. Towering pop-up on the infield. Cardona lets it drop in fair ground, and then it bounces foul. Cardona had a long run. I don't know if anyone had a beat on where the ball was going. With all the side spin, Post fortunate to have it go their way. The 1-2 gobbled up by Vega, and he fires out Gaskins for out number 2. Shortstop Wesley Hogan now comes up. He's 0 for 2 thus far with a pair of strikeouts. Mingo with 4 Ks so far today. Hogan shows bunt, fouls it back. Hogan, the team leader with 8 home runs this season. 4th on the team with RBIs with 25 on the season. The 0-1 for Mingo. Down and away. One, Hogan on the ground. Cardona knocks it down. Scooped up by Rivera. He'll eat the throw. And so Hogan is aboard with 2 outs. We'll see how they rule it. It's going to be a tough play for Cardona to even make. And then Rivera didn't have a throw to first. And with Hogan's speed, brings up Jaden Greenidge. And it will be a base hit for Wesley Hogan. Mingo starts him out with a strike. Greenidge is 0 for 1, a flyout and a walk with a run scored in the 3rd. Came in on the 2-run home run from Keith Gardner, who stands on deck for Lincoln. A 1-1. Swing and a miss. Caught in hot water. The snap throw back to first is in time. Hogan looked like they had the hit and run on, and then coming up empty was Greenidge, and Hogan couldn't decide what he wanted to do. Cleary throws him out with a tag from Roberge. We head to the bottom of the 4th. 6-0 Lincoln on the CACC Network. To the bottom of the 4th we go on the CACC Network. 6-0 Lincoln in front. If you're just joining me, Matt Scalzo, glad you can make me a part of your Tuesday afternoon, senior day at Waterbury Municipal Stadium. Final 2 home games of the 2025 season for Post Baseball. Justin Rivera takes a called strike one from Isaiah Negron to begin the home half of the fourth. Post trying to find any offense to get going. And Rivera quickly in an 0-2 hole. Negron has settled in on the bump. 3 strikeouts all came in succession in the second inning. And that one dips down and inside against Rivera. Negron's been working quickly. Settles on the bump. Takes a breath, then here he comes again. The 1-2. And he pulls that outside, skipping the backstop. It's 2-2. Not only is it the final home games of the season for Post Baseball, but also Post Athletics as a whole. 2-2 is high, and Rivera has worked backwards from an 0-2 hole to run the count full. To lead off this fourth inning, Rivera 1 for 1 with a single back in the second. Fights it off with a foul ball. That comes back to Negron off the light pole. And we'll do it all over again on the 3-2. Post locked into the 3 seed in the CACC tournament. Lincoln just playing for pride. The 3-2 on the ground. Stabbed by Greenidge at third. Long throw across the diamond. Pulls the first baseman Gardner off. But he tags out Rivera for out number 1. One of the more interesting 5-3 putouts, but it goes in the book the same as Jalen Kelly comes up to bat. The DH is 1 for 1 like Rivera was. They went back-to-back with singles in the second. And Negron has a first pitch strike to Jalen Kelly. Kelly, one of 11 seniors being honored today by Post, and it'll be the senior day ceremony following the conclusion of this game before the start of game 2 today. Kelly turns, drives this out towards left center field. On the move and making the catch is the speedy Aaron Graves out in center field. 2 away in the fourth. Lincoln put up 4 runs in the second, taking advantage of a failed pickoff attempt that resulted in 3 runs and a bases-loaded situation. And then a 2-run home run from Keith Gardner in the third has put the Lions where they are. And I said they were playing for pride earlier. 7-37 on the season, just 3-28 in conference play. Against a Post team that is 26-21. (22-12) in conference play this season, but the Eagles have dropped their last 5. Cardona fouls it off of home plate. Cardona's 0 for 1, went down looking in the second. He was the first of 3 straight strikeouts for Negron. Post won the CACC tournament last year, and now will be the 3 seed this year. The 2-1 from Cardona, and making the jumping grab over at shortstop is Wesley Hogan for a 1-2-3 fourth inning from Isaiah Negron. Sends us to the 5th. And it's 6-0 Lincoln over Post on the CACC network. Into the fifth inning we go between Post and Lincoln, game one of this Tuesday afternoon doubleheader to close out the 2025 regular season. Jaden Greenidge leads off for the Lions. 4, 5, and 6 due up for Lincoln here in the away half of the fifth inning. Tim Mingo still out on the mound, the starting pitcher for Post, coming into his fifth inning of work. Dario Sosa's been getting loose in the Post bullpen. Normally an outfielder hasn't pitched since he's arrived at Post. Well, with the amount of arms used this weekend in the series against Dominican, in which Post was swept, losing all 4 games, they surrendered 51 Dominican runs across the 4 games. And Greenidge works a walk to begin the fifth inning. Works a walk for the second consecutive time. Reached on a walk in the third and came in to score on a 2-run home run from this guy, Keith Gardner, the first baseman. Had that 2-run shot in the third, last runs to score in this contest. Takes a called strike outside from Mingo. It was on a 2-strike count. 2 balls, 2 strike, nobody out, and Gardner deposited it over the left field wall. Puts this on the ground and into left center field. Greenidge around second. He'll motor into third. It's a 1-out single for Keith Gardner. Puts runners on the corners as Greenidge goes first to third. Gardner continues his hot hitting day. Not another home run from Gardner, but nonetheless, a great piece of hitting. Has reached base all 3 times today. Reached on an error in the second. Obviously the home run in the third, and now the single here. Brings up Miguel Agramonte, the right fielder, who is 1 for 2. Doubled and scored in the second. Struck out looking back in the third. Frozen on the off speed from Mingo, and it's 0-1. Gardner not a threat to steal over at first. That one bounces away from Cleary and quickly pounces on it. Checks on both the runners. Nobody out in the fifth. Gardner at first, Greenidge at third. 1-1 count to Agramonte. Checks his swing. Did he go around? And he did. Count elevated to 1-2. Mingo comes home. Fastball in the dirt. Cleary with a nice block. Mingo will get a new ball. Sosa still getting loose in the Post bullpen. Looks like he's getting some mechanical work done. As the 2-2 dips outside from Mingo. Full count to Agramonte. Sean Stoney stands on deck. He's 0 for 2 so far. Payoff pitch home. Outside, and the bases are loaded with nobody out. Lincoln has come out and has taken this game by storm. A game where Post saw an opportunity to get back on track heading into the postseason. They've dropped their last 5. Lincoln, who's dropped their last 3, is last place in the South, 7-37 overall, 3-28 in conference play. This was a chance for Post to maybe steer the ship, get some wind back in their sails. Instead, it's been Lincoln taking advantage of Post miscues. And a chance for Sean Stoney. The 0-1 pulled into left field. That's a base hit. 1 run scores. Here comes Gardner rounding third. The throw for a major cut off by Cardona. It's a 2-run single for Sean Stoney. Drives in Greenidge and Gardner. And it's 8-0 Lincoln in the 5th. 14th and 15th RBIs of the season for Sean Stoney. And Lincoln continues to throw punches. And when talking about Sosa warming up in the bullpen, I think the biggest thing if you're Post is you want to put him in a clean inning. If it's his first collegiate pitching appearance, you don't want to put him in some tough spot. Iguaran lays down the bunt. Cleary fires him out at first, but both runners advance another 90 feet, putting both in scoring position for the 9-hitter in Aaron Graves. Agramante at third, Stoney at second. Perfect use of the sac bunt from Sebastian Iguaran. As head coach Ray Skold comes out to Mingo, and Sosa will be coming out of the bullpen with 2 runners on and 1 away in the 5th. The 9-hitter Aaron Graves coming up. We'll take a break as Sosa gets warmed up here on the CACC Network. Dario Sosa onto the mound for Post in the 5th inning. Comes in with 1 away, 2 runners on, and an 8-0 Lincoln lead here on the CACC Network. Matt Scalzo with you. Glad you could make me a part of your Tuesday afternoon. The infield comes in for the 9-hitter Aaron Graves, who is 0 for 2. But he's got a pair of runners on. Sean Stoney at second, Agramante at third, and Sosa's first collegiate pitch is swung on and missed by Graves. One is outside, and it's 1-1. Sosa as a hitter this season, batting .247, Has a home run and 14 RBIs. Graves puts down the bunt. Sosa has no throw. Now caught in hot water over at second is Stoney. Coming home will be Agramonte. Dropping the ball is Cleary. He'll come in to score. Now over at first is Graves, and he's tagged out by Vega. So the sac bunt by Graves nearly could have been just the bases loaded coming back to the top of the order. Instead, Graves and whatever happened there, it was first Agramonte was in no man's land halfway down the line at third. And after all those swinging around, here comes the top of the order, and Solomon Devard will drive in these 2 runs. A single up the middle brings in Agramonte and Stoney. And the second batter to face Sosa will take advantage with a 2-run single. Puts Lincoln up 10-0. Devard, another single for him. This time he picks up 2 RBIs with it. First pitch swing, and this one goes into right field from Kenneth Gaskins. Holding at second goes Devard. So now Lincoln starting to time it up against Sosa. And Sosa airmails the throw home to the backstop, slipping out of his hand. And both runners will advance on the wild pitch. So what started well for Sosa with a swing and a miss on his first pitch to Graves has gone, I guess, the way you would expect for someone making his first collegiate pitching appearance. So the 1-0 is high, and it's 2-0. Can't really know how Dario is feeling in this spot. Maybe a little bit of nerves. Here is the 2-0, skied out towards right center field. Velasco charges, and he'll make the grab to retire Hogan. And the 5th comes to a close, but another 4 runs come across for Lincoln. They take a 10-0 lead heading into the bottom of the 5th on the CACC Network. Bottom of the fifth inning, and Lincoln adds on to its lead. 4 more runs in the fifth, and it's 10-0 Lions as Hayden Roberge leads off for Post in the bottom half of the fifth. Matt Scalzo with you on the CACC Network. Glad you can make me a part of your Tuesday afternoon. And Hayden Roberge is plunked on the first pitch from Isaiah Negron. That is the 28th hit by pitch for Hayden Roberge this season. That now puts him in solo lead of that category for CACC Network this season. Ben Major swings on the first pitch, and he finds a gap in the left field. First 2 runners aboard for Post, trying to get its offense alive against Isaiah Negron. Freshman right-hander enjoying best start of his career so far. Now comes to the 9-hitter in Sean Cleary, who's 0 for 1. First baseman Keith Gardner comes into the infield grass. Cleary takes the first pitch outside for ball 1. Through 4 innings, Negron had just surrendered 2 hits, struck out 3. Nobody was walked, but he had a hit by a pitch, and he's given up his 3rd hit and 2nd hit by a pitch to start this inning. That bounces away from Aguaron, and so Roberge and Major advance another 90 feet. And now Roberge coming home. The flip to Aguaron. Got him. A big collision at home plate. Aguaron is shaken up. And he will go down. As the head coach for Lincoln, Vince Connor, will go out to check on him. As does the athletic training staff for the Lions. Just another strange play and something that I guess has become standard in this game. A lot of wacky plays that can't say you see a lot in baseball, and that one another installment of it. Wild pitch, Aguaron got it back to Negron, the pitcher, and Roberge saw it as an opportunity with Aguaron away from home plate, and Negron not paying attention to try and swipe home. But Negron and Aguaron connect in time. Tag Roberge out. And Major advanced over to third during that play, but now there's one away and a 2-0 count to Cleary. That's up over his head, and it's 3-0. The 3-0 gets to the backstop. Here comes Major. The flip home is off the mark. And so Post has its first run of the day. Ben Major scoring on a wild pitch. Cleary goes on the base paths on the walk. Post gets its first run, cuts into the deficit. It's 10-1 as Rene Vega on the top of the order come back up. Through the halfway point in this game, it was 10-0 Lincoln. But as quickly as the Lions have done that, Post saying there's a lot of baseball left. We can do the same. A Lincoln team that has struggled this season, 7-37, 3-28 in conference play. 11th in terms of ERA as a staff this season. Came with an 8.69 coming into today. The 0-1. Outside to Vega, 1-1. Throw over to first. Gets past Gardner. but not too far away, and Cleary will hold over there. The 1-1. This is lined into left center field. It'll drop in for a base hit from Vega. Back to runners on first and second as Damaris Rodriguez now comes up. Through 4 innings, it had been relatively quiet work for Isaiah Negron, and now the post bats have found some momentum. Cleary at second, Vega at first. Negron's high on the first pitch to Rodriguez with a fly who's flown out and was hit by a pitch back in the third. 1-0. Negron pinpoints on the outside part of the zone. 1-1 with 1 away. 2 runners on. 1 run has already scored in this inning. Major scoring on a wild pitch. Negron misfires and the count moves to 2-1. 4 runs in the second, 2 in the third, and another 4 runs in the fifth for Lincoln. Post brings its first run in here in the bottom of the fifth. Rodriguez fouls it away, and that levels the count to 2-2. Rodriguez on his senior day. One of the top hitters in terms of the CACC. Takes that outside, and it's 3-2. Came into today leading the conference in batting average and on-base percentage. Here comes the payoff pitch. Rodriguez, a high chopper, fielded by Hogan. They'll flip to second for 1, and then there's no throw anywhere else for Sean Stoney. Puts runners on the corners, 2 away. As Vega's retired. Cleary goes to third, and taking Vega's spot at first is Rodriguez on the fielder's choice. Isaiah Velasco now comes up. He's 0 for 2. A ground out and a line out. Chance to bring in another run, or does Negron have another clutch out in him? Rodriguez going. And Guaron threw a sizzler down to third to keep Cleary on the bag. Rodriguez swipes his 21st stolen base of the season. Puts both in scoring position and takes the force out of the equation at second base. The 1-0 to Velasco. And Negron stamps the outside corner. The 1-1 is a touch outside from Negron. Two-1 to Velasco. Lifted in the air, foul, left field line. Velasco with hits in 6 of his last 7 games. Currently riding a 3-game hitting streak. A balk is called, and that will bring in another run. Cleary scores on the balk, and Rodriguez heads over to third. Post gets another run. in the fifth. They make it 10-2, and now the entire Lincoln infield will come in to talk with their young right-hander. Freshman Negron having his best start of the season. Freshman out of Marion Station, Pennsylvania. Attended Lower Marion High School. Notable alum, Kobe Bryant from Lower Marion. NBA playoffs going on right now. Not right now, but, you know, in the postseason. A few more games slated for tonight as Negron comes out. Here's the 2-2. Velasco in the air. Into straightaway center. Graves comes in. And the mound visit smartly used as Negron gets out of the inning. Post brings in its first 2 runs. Major scores on the wild pitch and Cleary on the balk. We head to the sixth. 10-2 Lincoln in front on the CACC network. Into the sixth inning. Post brings in 2 runs in the bottom of the fifth to make it 10-2. But Lincoln still in front, and they're working against Dario Sosa, who comes into his first full inning of work. Came in a relief in the 5th inning in place of Tim Mingo. If you're just joining me, Matt Scalzo. Delighted to have you with me on the CACC network. Glad you could make me a part of your Tuesday afternoon. A beautiful day in Waterbury at Waterbury Municipal Stadium. 75 degrees and sunny. Finally feeling like spring as we get closer to summer. Jaden Greenidge leads off when he's quickly ahead 2-0. He's reached on a walk his last 2 times to the dish, and he scored on both occasions. 2-0 waves through, and Sosa, who's making his first ever collegiate pitching appearance, has been a steady right fielder this season for Post. Getting a chance as a two-way guy. Post has had that success. Harvey Valera, notable two-way guy for Post this season. The 3-1 fouled off by Greenidge, and Sosa has worked the count full. Keith Gardner and Miguel Agramante yet to come up. They're due up in this inning. Gardner's been very successful today for Lincoln. The payoff pitch is in the dirt, and for the 3rd straight time and 2nd consecutive inning, Greenidge has worked the leadoff walk. Now the ever dangerous Keith Gardner comes up. Reached on air and scored in that crazy second inning. Had a 2-run home run in the third and then singled and scored back in the fifth, a part of that 4-run fifth inning for Lincoln. Pushed their advantage up 10-0. Takes the first pitch ball high from Sosa. Mercy rule is 10 runs after 7 innings. Gardner ahead 2-0. Back-to-back games with a 2-run home run for Gardner. Jammed inside. He bloops this one out towards right center field. Velasco charges, and he makes the grab for out number 1. Miguel Agramonte comes up now, the right fielder. 1 for 2, doubled and scored in the second. Struck out looking in the third and then walked and scored in the fifth. Came in to score on a 2-run single from Solomon Devard. Greenidge over at first. 7 for 7 on stolen bases, and now we're going to get a visit on the mound from Ray Skolden, the athletic trainer, checking on Sosa. As I said, first collegiate pitching appearance. Not sure if he really gets any bullpen action throughout this season, and you got to wonder about that arm, especially as you come into the postseason. While Post has been on a skid, losing 5 straight games. Sosa will come out due to concern maybe of an injury in his arm. So Post will be going back to the bullpen. And it'll be Alex Puente, who joined halfway through this season as a walk-on. We don't have any stats on him, really much about Alex, but he's going to be coming in. He's going to get warmed up in the top of the 6th inning with 1 away and 1 on. Sosa departs. Back after this on the CACC Network. Alex Puente on the mound for his first appearance this season. Joined halfway through the year as a walk-on. His first pitch is in for a strike to Miguel Agramonte. Dario Sosa departs after an inning of work, 16 pitches, 3 hits allowed and a walk. He is responsible for Greenidge over at first base. didn't give up any runs prior. Came in a tough spot. Runs that scored while he was pitching were against Tim Mingo, who went 4 1/3 innings, giving up 10 runs, 6 of those earned on 7 hits with 6 walks and 4 strikeouts. Just joining me, Matt Scalzo. Glad you could make me part of your Tuesday afternoon on the CACC network. 2-1 is fouled back. Runner going, the 2-2 pops out of the glove of Cleary, and Greenidge will pick up his 8th stolen base of the season. Count runs full with 1 away to Agramonte. Sean Stoney stands on deck. Had a 2-run single his last time up in the 5th. Payoff pitch home. That's high. It's a 1-out walk to Agramonte. Puts 2 runners on. Back-to-back walks for the right fielder. Reaches base for the 3rd time today. Sean Stoney now comes up. First pitch fired in from Puente for strike 1. That's down and away, and it's 1-1. Stoney was 0 for 2 until he picked up that 2-run single in the 5th, driving in Greenidge and Gardner. 1-1. Squibbs one, first base side. Roberge fumbles with it, and everybody is safe. It'll be an error against Roberge, and some more activity for Post in their bullpen. Jalen Kelly, the DH, getting loose. After what we saw with Sosa, I can't imagine that Ray Skold is really going to ask another piece in his lineup to come in and come in and pitch like legit. I would assume this is just trying to get from point A to point B in this game. The corners come in, and Roberge and Cardona. Double play depth up the middle as Aguaron skies one that will stay on the infield. Vega will make the grab for out number 2. And a chance for Puente to get out of the inning against Aaron Graves, the 9-hitter and center fielder who has come up, it seems, every time in a big spot. Laid down the bunt, reached his last time up, and then that was a wacky play in its own way. Got out on a 1-6-2-4 putout after the single on the bunt, in which he ran all the way to second to kind of keep things going, keep the play alive, to try and keep Agramonte and Stoney at 3rd and 2nd. Ended up working and resulted in a 2-run single from Solomon Devard. As Graves is ahead 3-0. 2 outs, nowhere to put him. He's going to be taking all the way as Devard stands on deck. 3-0 home. In there all the way for a called strike. Puente going to have to work backwards. 3-1. Inside, ball 4. Graves picks up an RBI walk. Lead up to 9. It's 11-2. Nice for Aaron Graves to get one there. 4th RBI of the season. For the sophomore out of Upper Marlboro, Maryland. Brings in Solomon Devard with the bases loaded. Called strike from Puente. Puts him ahead 0-1. So now it's Agramonte at third, Stoney at second, Graves over at first after Greenidge came in. And for the third consecutive time, in the third, fifth, and sixth, Greenidge got aboard on a leadoff walk, and he's coming to score on all 3 occasions. 1-1, bounces into Devard, 2-1. Two-one is high to Devard. Nowhere to put him. Here's the 3-1. That was going to be ball 4, and Devard chased up high. Cracks a smile into his dugout. There comes Puente on the 3-2. Runners all going, and that is down and away outside. Back-to-back bases loaded RBI walks issued by Puente. As Devard picks up his 3rd RBI of the day. Reaches base for the 3rd time. Kenneth Gaskins comes back up, and it's back to a 10-run advantage for Lincoln. Gaskins takes that in for a strike. For Devard, that is his 14th RBI of the season. The 1-1. Brushes inside for ball 2. 2 balls, a strike, 2 outs. Bases loaded. Devard at first, Graves at second, and Stoney at third. That 2-1 is high to Gaskins. If you're a Lincoln hitter, I would assume the mindset right now is don't take the bat off your shoulder unless it's a for sure strike. As that one's high, it's a 5-pitch walk. Another run comes in for Lincoln. They take their largest lead of the afternoon as Sean Stoney comes in on the walk. Fourth time that Gaskins has reached. As there's the first pitch strike to Wesley Hogan. 3rd time he's reached on a walk. The 0-1 popped up foul ground. Cleary gives it a look. Lands out of play. So now Puente in the driver's seat. 0-2 count with 2 away to Wesley Hogan, who is 1 for 4 so far. A pair of strikeouts, a single, and a flyout. Gaskins picked up his 9th RBI on that walk. The 0-2 ground ball scooped up by Rivera. He tosses to Vega, and the inning is over. Puente gets out of it, but another 3 runs come across to score for Lincoln. The Lions lead by 11 as we head to the bottom of the 6th on the CACC Network. Bottom of the sixth inning on the CACC Network. Lincoln with its largest lead after adding 3 more runs in the top of the sixth. The Lions with a 13-2 lead over Post in Game 1 of this Tuesday afternoon doubleheader to close out the regular season. If you're just joining me, Matt Scalzo, delighted to have you with me on Senior Day for Post. Senior Day ceremony going on between Games 1 and 2 as Rivera swings on the first pitch, flies it out towards right field. Agramonte makes the grab, and there's one away to begin the bottom half of the sixth. Isaiah Negron still out there for Lincoln. 5'7" freshman right-hander out of Pennsylvania, holding strong. And Kelly swings through the first pitch from Negron. Kelly's 1 for 2, a single and a flyout. There's the 0-1. And Kelly grounds it foul third base side. This Post team has been in the slump. Of course, they were going against a couple of the top teams in the conference in their last 5 games that they lost. Goldie Beacom, who's nationally ranked, and Dominican, who's top team in the North Division. But Lincoln, last place in the South, first year in the CACC. After spending time in the ECC and the CIAA, come to the CAC. This was not the result they were expecting as Negron, makes Kelly look silly, chasing that off-speed down and away. And Negron gets his 4th strikeout of the day. First since the second inning. 2 away in the 6th. And this Post team just looks defeated. Not sure what it was as Cardona waves through the first pitch fastball from Negron. Going on a 5-game skid is tough, especially heading into the home stretch of the regular season, trying to get hot heading into the postseason as Cardona pops this up. First base side, and making the play is the first baseman Gardner, and the inning is over. A 1-2-3, bottom half of the 6th for Negron. It's all Lincoln through 6 as we head into the 7th. 13-2 advantage on the CACC Network. Into the 7th we go, and there is a pinch hitter for Lincoln as a new pitcher is on the bump. For Post, it is Jalen Kelly, the DH, and unlike Dario Sosa, kind of just lobbing some pitches in, and that one he fired in Stamping the outside corner for a called strike. The 1-1. Pinch hitter for Lincoln. Making the play there is Renee Vega, calling off Justin Rivera. It was Daryl Husband who was pinch hitting for Jaden Greenidge. And it looks like we're going to have a wave of substitutions for Lincoln. It'll be Jalen Greenidge. I believe twin brother of Jaden Greenidge. Both in their junior season out of Richmond, Virginia. For Greenidge this season, this is Jalen, the 0-1. Flies it out right field. Velasco will make the grab. And it's 2 quick outs for Jalen Kelly. For Jalen Greenidge, he was batting 190. And Miguel Agramonte now comes up to bat. Agramonte's reached on back-to-back walks. The breaking ball from Kelly hangs upstairs. Lincoln looking for 3 more outs in the bottom half of the 7th. Trying to run rule post in game 1 of this 2-game set on senior day. This one pulled into left field for a base hit. Agramonte spoils the 1-2-3 frame from Jalen Kelly. Another pinch hitter. It's Chris Howard, Jr. out of the Bronx. Bounces the first pitch foul. Howard playing in his 24th game. He's 4 for 41 on the season. Has 5 RBIs. The 0-1. Called outside corner for a called strike. Looking for one more strike. Post bench fired up. Can Kelly deliver a strikeout? 0-2 dropped outside. Cleary's going to fire down to second as Agramonte takes advantage of the wild pitch. The 1-2 outside. Post wanted strike 3 for Jalen Kelly. Shift is on against Howard. Vega square up the middle. And Howard fouls it off of home plate. Rivera halfway between second and third, and Cardona playing down the line. Big gap at second base. Roberge just a little bit off the line over at first. A 2-2. Bounces into Howard. And full count with 2 away. Guaron is on deck. No change there. Payoff pitch. Swing and a miss. Kelly with his first career strikeout, and he's pumped up heading back to the dugout. Fans Howard, and we head into the seventh. 13-2 lead for Lincoln. They're looking for 3 more outs to get the run rule here in Game 1 on the CACC Network. Bottom of the seventh. Lincoln looking for 3 more outs to get the win in Game 1. Up by 11, 13-2, the lead over Post. Here on Senior Day and the final day of the regular season. If you're just joining me, Matt Scalzo, glad you could be with me. Hayden Roberge leads off in a flurry of changes in the field. You saw the pinch hitters in the top of the seventh. There's some more defensive changes, and including a change on the mound. Isaiah Negron, his book is shut. 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, both earned, with 4 Ks and a walk. Best start of his freshman season by far. He hands it off to Dennis Flores, right-hander in his sophomore season out of Manchester, Connecticut. Ahead 1-2 as Roberge fouls it off. Roberge is 0 for 1, struck out looking and then reached on a hit by pitch. Was out trying to advance to home. Flores making his 11th appearance on the mound. He's 1-7 on the year. 1-2, Roberge on the ground. Jalen Greenidge, one of the defensive changes, picks it up, and he's got out number 1. He was in the 6th inning and made that nice grab along the dugout to end the inning. Also in the field, Darrell Husbands over at third in place of Jaden Greenidge. Now brings up Ben Major. He's 1 for 2, a strikeout and a single with a run scored. The 1-0 from Flores jammed inside, and Major clips it foul. Chris Howard is over at second base. Still Wesley Hogan at short. So the 1-0 finds the zone, and it's 1-2. Here comes the 1-2. Major a pop-up. Foul ground first base side. Aguaron rips off the mask. And he'll run out of room. And then the final change is out in center field. Bryce McNeil replaces Aaron Graves. More on Flores. In all his appearances, he's made this start. 10 appearances, 10 starts, 1-7, a 10.30 ERA. The 1-2 is high and inside, count all level. He's gone 50 2/3 of innings pitched. 90 hits, 66 runs, 58 of those earned. He's got 34 Ks to 19 walks. As that dips away, count runs full. Opponents are batting .386 against the right-hander. A 3-2 outside. It's a one-out walk to Ben Major. Post needs at least 2 runs to try and keep this game going. Sean Cleary, the catcher, now comes up. First pitch is high from Flores. Flores misfires, and it's 2-0. High 3-0. Top of the order, and Rene Vega waits. Finds the outer part of the plate. 3-1. Is outside, and Cleary gets on board. Back-to-back walks issued by Flores. Now it's back to the top of the order with Rene Vega. Cleary represents the run that could keep this game going. Game 1 always slated for a full 9 innings. Game 2 shortened to 7. First pitch to Vega, hit on the ground, picked up by Howard to second for 1, fired on to first, in time. The throw from Hogan and the stretch from Greenidge. They roll it up 6-4-3, and this one is over. Lincoln snaps its 3-game skid and hands Post its 6th consecutive loss. They take game 1 of the senior day doubleheader in convincing fashion. 4 runs in the second, 2 in the third, 4 in the fifth, and another 3 in the sixth. As the Lions get their 8th win of the season, 4th in conference play, and Post continues its slide at the end of the regular season. 6 games now in a row. The Eagles have dropped. Senior Day coming up here on the CACC Network ceremony. Game 2 to follow afterwards. Lions looking for a sweep to bring their 2025 season to a close. We'll catch you there.